Welcome everybody, it's day one of the 30-day challenge. Great to have you aboard. Very, very exciting. This is actually the second time I've shot this because the last time I did this, you can only see up to here. Incredibly professional it was, even by my standards. So look, welcome. This is the first day and we're going to take it really easy. I know there's been a lot to digest with new tools in the pre-season, and there's a whole bunch of you. We've had more people join in the last 24 hours than have competed in the last two 30-day challenge. Such is the power of Web 2.0. So I want to really ease into the 30 days this year. We'll have plenty of time. So I really want you to relax, don't panic. We're going to give you so much catch-up time. You'll be absolutely fine. So we're going to keep it nice and easy. We've got some content today. All you're going to have to do today is listen to a podcast. Then on Thursday and Friday, we'll have some lessons on market research. And then you've got the whole weekend to do catch up and to bring yourself up to date. So, look, before I go any further, I want to do one serious thing. And that is I want to dedicate this year's 30-day challenge to the memory of the person who had the greatest impact, full stop, in my marketing career. And that is the one and only Gary Halbert. Gary passed away on Easter Sunday this year. And I still see his name pop up when I type in emails, and his email still pops up and it makes me think of him. And it's such a loss, but he's left us with such a legacy too. And there's so much that you're going to learn in this year's 30-day challenge, which is you trace back the genesis of that particular idea to go back to Gary. So Gary, this one is for you, wherever you happen to be. Okay, so what are we learning today? Today we're talking about the Magnificent Symphony made up of 4 movements, and that is internet marketing. Really, people try to overcomplicate internet marketing. There are so many variations of these things. It's a bit like, drafts or checkers, depending on where you play the game. In one element, it's very simple to learn, very easy to learn. But at another level, it takes literally years to become a grand master of that particular game. And there's heaps of examples of that where you can learn something in minutes, but to become a master of it can take a long time. So what tends to happen with internet marketing is we get overcomplicated and we lose track of these 4 things. And they're the most important things, and they're presented in a very deliberate order. Now, I go into detail on today's podcast, so I'm not going to go into detail here. I want you to listen to the podcast. But I will briefly mention the 4 of them here. The first one is market research. Oh, and by the way, they're in order. Order of priority, order of importance. And number 1 with a bullet is market research. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next few days. The great thing about the internet is there's no excuse to take any risks. You just don't need to take any risks, particularly now in this Web 2.0 world where, unlike past years of the 30-day challenge, we're not going to pay for traffic. And that's pretty amazing. So there's that, there's the market research. Number 2 in this whole thing is traffic, which I just mentioned. Traffic is very important. And why is traffic important? Well, frankly, if you can't get anybody coming to your shop, what does it matter how good your product is or how good you are at getting people to reach into their wallets? It makes no difference whatsoever. It's immaterial. So traffic must be number 2, and we must work out traffic in the number 2 slot before we even think about selling or sales letters or anything like that. Number 3 is conversion, and boy, are you going to see a big difference in this year's challenge. And I think even for experienced marketers, they're going to be very interested in having a look at this, because really the day of the long form sales letter, there's still a place for it, but there are so many more effective techniques. And for the first time, we'll be teaching some of those techniques to you. So you'll be hearing about check move theory for the first time for a lot of you. And don't worry about what that is now, but know this one thing. there's no selling. You don't sell. If you have to sell what it is you're offering, then it's not good enough. You know, think about things that you really, really, really wanted to buy. This 2-rock amplifier, for example. You didn't have to sell me to buy that. It's the exact thing I wanted. I know everything there is to know about this particular amp. It's only one of 25 in the entire world. But that, you know, as I say, I walked in and said, yes, I want that. And that's why, you know, selling, if you have to sell something, you're sort of not providing the service in the first place. But don't worry, you'll understand a hell of a lot more of that when we get along. Now, the fourth thing, and notice it's come fourth, and after all of that, finally, is product. Yep, that's right. We only consider thinking about making a product once we've checked and tested all of those 3 things prior. This year is going to be exciting from a product perspective because you're going to have many options based on your skill levels. And indeed, if you did want to do some outsourcing or anything like that. But don't worry, no money is going to be required. That's the absolute guarantee of this year's challenge. But for some of you who may want to outsource something at the end of the challenge to create your own product, well, that's an option for you too, but it's not required. And hey, have you been seeing the film festival? Wow, there have been some amazing entries, and I'll be announcing the winner with a very cool prize tomorrow. But the thing I wanted to point out was how many of those videos actually don't feature the person who created them. They're either photos or their PowerPoint presentation or their stuff on their computer screens. And that's what I want you to start thinking about because, and boy oh boy, the traffic we've been getting from those videos through YouTube has been phenomenal. And this is all part of the coolness that is Web 2.0. So it's going to be a wild ride these next 30 days. Okay, 31, but stay with me. 30 sounds so much better than 31. It really is going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to take you through it. We've got an incredible team on board this year working full-time. Caro, who many of you will know from last year's and the year before, has been an incredible contributor. We've actually got her on the team full-time for this 30-day challenge. We've got the Manchester lab with Dan and Innes going, and here in Melbourne with myself and Rob Somerville, and then Chicago with Nick Massey and the SET team. So really there is a huge amount of support for you this year. The forums are brilliant. Thank you so much, Dan, because I was just going in there before, and the cool stuff that you can do inside the forum, I'm only scratching the surface. So there's a whole heap of stuff for you to do, but keep in mind that we're going to ease you into, all you have to do today is listen to a 30-minute podcast. You can sit on your bottom and not do anything, or even better, go for a walk, get some exercise. I should be getting some exercise. Do that, and that's all you need to do today. And it'll start to get you a feel of why we're going to be doing what we're doing over the course of the next 30 days. And again, I suppose that in and of itself is a difference to last year, because again, I'm trying to give you the hooks, the whys. Are we going to be doing what we're doing? So everything that we do, we'll be able to relate back to one of those 4 things: market research, traffic, conversion, or the product. And that's what we're going to focus on. So there you have it. Thanks so much for all your Facebook messages and Twitters and all that brilliance. I'm going to show you how to use those to devastating effect in the coming weeks. And imagine the power of this stuff when you start applying it on your own niches. So, speak to you tomorrow, and we'll roll our sleeves up. So, let's roll.